In this video, I'll be recreating some of the most iconic weapons, skins, and locations from the Fortnite Halloween update called Fortnitemares. And since you guys loved the last Fortnite video so much, let me know in the comments what else you want to see from this game built in LEGO, and make sure to like the video. Now, with every new update comes changes to the Fortnite map, and one of my favorite drop spots was just wiped off the map. I was planning to build Reckless Railways next, and when I logged back in, jumped in, and found this freaking field. Wait, it's actually called Freaky Fields? Yeah, this is a callback to Frenzy Fields, which was the first farm point of interest in Fortnite. And now, it's the hottest spot to drop in the whole game, so let's build it in LEGO. Starting with a couple of green base plates, I want to capture 4 key components of this location. First, the White House where you find Billy. Second, a red barn, because it's a farm. Third, I need to build these 2 silos. And fourth, those giant pumpkins. So let's get started with Billy's house. I grabbed my white bricks and started building the porch because it adds a nice bit of detail to an otherwise very plain facade of a building. I placed in the railing and that wooden floor, and then started outlining the walls and deciding what rooms to add in. I tiled off the floor inside and made a section to the right to represent the kitchen with some shelves and a fridge. Then I tiled off this larger area over here and made it into a living room by adding in a table, a chair, and some couches. This will probably be a pretty good place to loot, but the main attraction in the house is this old looking TV that you can interact with.
Do you want to play a game?
This will of course activate one of the bosses, Billy, and he'll come running after you with an axe, so don't get cornered. But we're not done with the house, because there's an upstairs, and the weirdest thing about this room is that all the furniture is upside down. This is super eerie, and the way you can build this is by finding a piece with a double-sided stud so that you can easily attach furniture to the ceiling. The lighting doesn't really work to show this, but here we go. Filming tricks. For the last room, I added this bathtub shower, and I used a cape for the curtain rod, but I guess toilet paper could also work. This way you can check behind the curtain for anything else that might want to jump out at you. Oh, it's a duck. To finish off the house, I tried to configure a roof that somewhat resembled the house in the game, and after like an hour, I finally got somewhere halfway decent. And now with this house built, let's place in some loot. One of the new items for this event is the Boom Billy, which is his iconic tricycle that targets nearby enemies and explodes. This build here took me forever to figure out, and it's unfortunately minifigure scale, but it does make the perfect tricycle that you can place the Billy minifigure on so we can do the emote. The other really popular item around here is of course the chainsaw, and I've got a custom Leatherface minifigure from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre just for the occasion. This figure comes with its own molded chainsaw, which looks really good, but we want to build our own. LEGO does have a chainsaw element, which makes this super convenient, or you could even use a 1x4 tile on a clip with a similar handle configuration. Now you can zoom across the map and take out entire buildings, and of course terrorize your enemies with this OP slasher. The other item that you may find is a witch's broom, and as you'd imagine, it's just a LEGO broom. But it cooks! These are a bit kooky in-game, and due to the swooping nature, they didn't do a very good job of replacing those dang jetpack and auto turret combos. This season has been crazy, and another item they brought back is the pumpkin launcher. I built this one with a 2x2 round brick, and then had to use sticky tack to align the pumpkin so it looked right. And be careful not to blow yourself up, because these things pack a punch. And speaking of pumpkins, let's build one of those massive fruits. Or are they veggies? Well, either way, LEGO gave us the perfect free promo set for this build, and it comes together with snot bricks and even has a light brick on the stem. The face is super detailed, and when you add in some green light on the inside, this thing looks perfect for Fortnitemares. I built out the pumpkin patch with some more greenery and some small normal sized pumpkins, and then continued to plant some crops that will make up the cornfield. I thought I had a lot of parts, but this is all the corn I could make. Cheers to the real brick farmers out there, because those fields are crazy. To protect the crops, I added in this scarecrow, which you can also hide in the game to scare other players. And of course you can show your true sportsmanship by emoting right after you knock them down. Alright, now that we have the house and some crops, we need a barn. So I grabbed the next base plate and outlined the barn with red bricks. I added some breakaway doors just like in the game, and then tiled the floor and made some stalls where you'll find loot. I also added in a back door for a quick escape, but you can always knock down the walls. I continued building this upward, adding in some nice printed window pieces and leaving some room for light to come through. I used some of these old angled Technic picnic pieces and some shelves to hold the roofing in place. Then for the dreaded roofing, I completely exhausted my white plate storage to cover up all 4 of these roof sections, and fortunately, it fit really well. This was my first ever barn build, and I think it turned out really good. And dang, this whole thing is starting to look like a farm now. I remembered that I had this tractor set, so I modified it to look a bit more like the ones in-game and placed that into our freaky fields. The last feature that we need to capture are the grain silos, and there are 2 of them. So I ordered a bunch of these curved quarter panels and some of these quarter slopes to make the perfect dome as seen on the top of the silos. I decided to keep these nice and simple since they don't really do anything in the game other than act as a landmark when you're flying over the map. And speaking of which, did you notice anything different about the battle bus? It's fully blacked out, which kind of reminds me of the new Star Wars Dark Falcon. So I'm going to take some inspiration and try color swapping the battle bus to get more black parts on there. Unfortunately though, I don't have any black window frames or doors, so even though I swapped out all of these blue parts, I still have a ton of blue on here. I did manage to make it a bit darker, and then I finished off the roof by adding in some candles, pumpkins, and a few tombstones to match the vibe. And I thought I nailed it, but then I noticed the balloon was an entirely different color, and LEGO doesn't make these parts in that color. So instead, I bought a real balloon and tried to stretch it over the parts, but that didn't work. Nope. So then I just outright replaced the LEGO balloon for a real life orange balloon. I attached it with a gear piece and an axle, so it's pretty secure. For the tattered material, I got a $1 black tablecloth, cut it up, and then glued it to the balloon. So now we have a completely reskinned battle bus. Almost. You can also use clear pieces to position your minifigures to make it look like they're jumping from the bus. Then for our scene, I placed it over the silos for extra height, and now all of these players can officially drop at LEGO Freaky Fields. Something that you'll definitely need if you're dropping with a squad at Freaky Fields though is a Reboot van. Like I said, this is a hot spot. So I built this Reboot van, and this one was designed by Geek Brick. Only I didn't have all the right colors, so I definitely want to try making an improved Reboot van that's a little larger and a little sleeker. It does have the red button on the back, the satellites, and I printed out these icons and stuck those on here to make it look a little bit better. But hey, maybe this will even be a future LEGO set. I mean, we already have minifigures for in-game skins like Mr. Incredible, Cruella de Vil, Maleficent, and Hook, not to mention the Pumpkin King Jack Skellington and Sally from the new Nightmare Before Christmas set. To accompany Jack Skellington, I made his pickaxe the wrought iron trident, which turned out pretty cool. Unfortunately, you can't really add back bling to minifigures with hair though, because there's just no room. I also made this custom Edward Scissorhands by using custom Sasuke's hairpiece, but would love this figure by Citizen Brick. This is just masterful. There's also another boss that you can make a deal with, and this is my take on Mephisto, using parts I had like Carnage's body, the capes from Zastam, and the only redhead I could find. Talk about maximum effort. I also made his weapon, the demon's hand, with this realistic LEGO skull piece. Next is an edit style of the popular Lexa Harbinger that I made using a Harry Potter dual-molded witch hat. We've also got Venom, and Eddie is apparently getting a new movie which was spoiled by the new symbiote skins added to the Fortnite shop. So I made She-Venom with her symbiote slicers, which look pretty crazy, and this new symbiote glider that I built using a cape piece and a bunch of these robot arms and black spiky pieces. For the last skin, I've got the Skull Trooper, and he's about to play Rush Horde mode, so he's gonna need the saw gun that I built using one of these tool pieces, a wooden stake gun that uses a wand piece, and these clingers, which are awesome explosives that deal tons of damage to the horde zombies. In fact, these zombies are just cube monsters, you know, like Cube Assassin, the minifigure that comes in the battle bus, and these warriors are from Chapter 2, which we're going back to next. Even though we probably won't see these anomalies again, I still went ahead and made the sideways pickaxe, the sideways rifle, and the minigun because I thought they just looked really cool. And that about wraps up Fortnitemares. I had a blast both playing and building this chapter. I hope you guys have a happy Halloween. Make sure to like the video and stay tuned for the return of Chapter 2.